It's July the 23rd, 2024, and it is imperative. As one of the righteous, it's my job to whistleblow on federal and provincial public servant corruption, to point out that every single public service is a worthless, useless joke and pretty much a waste of your time. So I'm not the only one who knows this. So I need to provide 2 or 3 witnesses saying the same thing that I'm saying. So let's take a look here. This is a review that's been left about 5 months ago. An association of apologists for government bodies. Critics have called out for an independent body to investigate citizens' complaints. Novel idea. Jay Chuck, BC's ombudsperson, was in charge of the public guardian and trustee for a decade. During that time, as private caregiver, I was instructed to contact the public guardian and trustee regarding undue influence of a senior. This resulted in my job dismissal with police presence, and later the PGT sued for libel and slapped on an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Jay Chaka, the public guardian and trustee, these actions were harmful to both my client and my family. The VAG has a new exhibition after acquiring a group of 7 fakes. The gallery is in a teaching moment when it wishes to express to the public that transparency and admission of a mistake are vital. If the public guardian and trustee realize that my integrity was jeopardized, one day soon I hope an apology will be forthcoming. It takes character and perhaps some reflection to own one's missteps and understand the damage of those controversial actions. So this individual signs their name. So I was contacted by this criminal coven doing business as the public guardian and trustee. And we've got liars in the community here lying about what's happened to my in-trust private property. I, once again, the truth teller, I'm being called a liar, that I'm unfit to handle my affairs. That cabal did nothing for me, and they know that there's been 2 fraudulent mortgages on my land, and they've done nothing about it. More reviews. A national disgrace. You would probably have better results if you went to a McDonald's drive-thru and asked them instead to help you out. This is how incompetent this office is. No point, why even waste time? That MCFD and RCMP are all a waste when trying to advocate for your child, I've come to learn. Now, we all know that I'm the mother of a forced adopted son. They are trafficking highly marketable children in Canada every day, all day. I went to this cabal pretending to be the BC ombudsperson and interviewed with 2 females who did nothing for my son and myself. And now here we go again. We've got someone else telling you the same thing that I've been telling you, and I've been telling you this for years. Here's someone else saying something. If I could leave 0 stars and still comment, I would. As almost all of the other reviews say, don't waste your time. Their extremely poor rating says something. The fact that they don't care says even more. See, because they all get paid to do nothing. And they all falsely believe that they're above the law. Here's someone else on a different platform. So this cabal of useless eaters doing business as the BC ombudsperson claim to be independent. They are not independent. They are a government-funded, taxpayer-funded joke. They're all getting medical, dental, pensions, flex days, paychecks every 2 weeks, and yet they do absolutely nothing all day, every day. The ombudsperson is failing BC, lack of accountability in government services, because they all have been told that they're above the law. They've all been trained to falsely believe that the Criminal Code of Canada and all the acts and all the statutes and all the bylaws do not apply to beast employees. Yeah, beast employees. I think this deserves more awareness. The Ombudsperson of BC is a service to complain about administration of government programs and services. For example, I'm trying to complain about my local mental health services treating me poorly and denying my services. The Ombudsperson of BC is the only department available with the jurisdiction to do anything, but they have completely ignored my complaints and do nothing. I checked the reviews on Google, and they basically have 45 reviews all saying the same thing as me, that the Ombudsperson ignores their complaints and does nothing. They are rated 1.6 out of 5, which is one of the worst ratings I have ever seen. It is really troubling that if you have problems with your government health services, you don't really have anywhere you can complain to. The Ombudsperson should be held accountable for being so bad. Am I wrong, or does this seem corrupt? So let's all get crystal clear. There is no such thing as the BC Ombudsperson. No such thing. It does not exist. It's a figment of everyone's imagination. What does exist are the male and female beasts whose brains just spin on stupid all day, every day. And that's why they've been hired to front this corrupt coven of uselessness and worthlessness, because that's exactly what it is. It's going to be defunded and it's going to be shut down. Because no one who is being abused and treated unfairly needs to go then waste their time with this coven who knows nothing about fairness. Here we go again. Here's another one. Let me read it to you. What about you? About what you would expect from an incestuous relationship of having public service employees investigate other public service employees on behalf of non-public service people. 0 effort, which not surprisingly produced 0 results. A great case study if someone wants to know why public servants are held in such low regard in general in Canada. Apparently, this organization simply exists so that the beast bureaucrats can say that it does. Next time I need assistance, I will just bang my head against a wall. Can't be less productive than trying to ask for help from this organization. Well, there you go. I mean, 2 or 3 witnesses of the truth establish the truth. Now, just again the other day, I spoke the truth to something here, and it looks at me and says, well, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, wow, that's just awesome, because you've now just identified yourself as one of the wicked, because the wicked understand nothing, Daniel 12:10. So if I speak the truth to you, and you turn around and tell me that the truth doesn't make any sense to you, then what are you? Child of the devil. Not even a child. You can't even call that a child. It's spawn. It's spawn of the devil. Devil don't have children. Devil's got snakes and beasts. Humans, legally defined as monsters. I mean, what do you need to hear? What do you need to hear from me? What part about the truth is nobody understanding? Okay, so what's going on over here? Oh, let's see. So, years ago, after... Okay, so are you aware that I've had my interest private property stolen? So these beasts acting as bank solicitors can embezzle the entire estate. It's happening all the time in Canada, if you're not aware. We've talked about this before. Now, these are forwarded messages from a claim to the Crime Victim Assistance Program here in British Columbia. The claim number is 22, which is the year that I filed it. So that's 2022 59891. So these are not in order. And I'm an INFJ personality type, which means that I bounce around. Did you understand me? I got both sides of my brain working at the same time. That's not normal. Now, I am carrying the weight of 51 years of nothing but shit and abuse. So you have to keep that in mind when you listen to me. So this is a year after I filed this. All rape victims in Canada receive the same amount, $500,000, because you can never be made whole from a rape. For those of you who don't understand what rape does to the rape victim, you can never be made whole. In my culture, in the living law, rape is equal to murder, because that's exactly what's happened. Murder. That's why we never get over it, by the way. So we can see here who's tagged. Oh, look at this. We've got useless eater after useless eater after useless eater, all fronting the beast pretending to be federal and provincial public services. So I've got a BitChute here. I've had to correct my status. I am not a Canadian citizen. I'm not a citizen of this world at all. I am a sovereign. I'm not a slave. I'm not a sovereign citizen. No thanks. That's an oxymoron. I'm a sovereign. I'm not even fucking from here. So here we've got a public service announcement, right? And they're not, Canada's not communist. I had misunderstood the definition of that word. Canada is a tyrannical fascist regime that hates women. So I have to issue them the correct judgment. To date, $450,000 due and payable from forced prostitution resulting in multiple rapes after an act of fraud on the court to commit genocide has not been received via direct deposit. Listen, we all know that we all receive direct deposits from Revenue Canada or any provincial service. They have everyone's bank account number. Right? That's a problem. You understand that, right? Because we just learned a couple years ago that if they have that information, they can shut down your account, which is a crime called mischief. Okay, so what's the reason for the delay? I'm asking a question. They don't answer the questions. They won't answer the questions. You're a public servant tagged in the lawful notice and demand, incapable of following clear, concise directives? Right, again, I ask a question. I tell them to answer the question. I don't get an answer. So, I mean, you cannot call up social workers here in BC and have an intelligent conversation. They will attack you. If you try to hold them accountable, they see that as an attack, and then they attack you, and then they start to utter threats that they're going to call the police or going to do a welfare check, which is just absolute fucking insanity. Because I'm a truth talker, and they don't talk that language. They don't understand that language. They don't understand the language that I speak to them. So again, this is, you have to understand how tired I am. I'm not allowed, I am not permitted to conduct business with the wicked. Because the wicked are already dead. And they have nothing to offer anyone at any time for any reason. And that's who fronts federal and provincial public services. That's who gets hired. Be informed persons acting as Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General, Mike Farnworth. Now, you all know what that thing is, don't you? Your office will now be contacted via phone consistently and repeatedly. All calls recorded for quality assurance and training purposes, uploaded to the public for their information as to why you hate women and refuse our inalienable right to access justice, fair, and just compensation for your crimes against us. Do to others as you want them to do to you. That's the golden rule. Golden rule. I mean, you literally have to boil it down to the level of so like an animal could understand it, because that's who I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with male and female animals. They're humans. They're not people. So, I only have so much patience, and I can only be reasonable for so long. So did everybody go and listen to that call I made to Mike Farnworth's office here just a little while ago? And I got the male on the phone there who just spun me and told me, well, we don't do that here. You need to go talk to somebody else. That's what every single savage who picks up the phone is trained to do to you if you're trying to access any kind of public service here. So again, remember, these aren't in... Actually, you know what I should do? I apologize to you for this. You know what's happened? I should have started at the bottom. Do you know what I mean? Like, I should have started at the bottom and read to you. So this is from August the 6th, 2022, so that's now 2 years ago. This is woman, known as Victoria Ann Nevins, providing a complete victim application form to this BC Public Service Agency and its public servants for processing and consideration. The CVAP application form has been scanned and added as a PDF attachment to this email. Is proof of violent hate crime and theft of my personal chattel being committed against myself and my vehicle. Sorry, that should not say vehicle. You see, I'm one of the living. And so we grow every single day, and we learn every single day. I do not use commercial terms. My people are not about money. My people are not attached to the beast. We cannot be attached to the beast and the beast systems because it all has everything to do with the mad monkey monopoly money, and we are fully, completely, painfully aware that it has no value at all. You cannot serve two masters. You're going to have to make a choice. It's life or death. And if the choice is money, then the choice is death. CZFAP reference 0137121 for more information as to how my automobile ended up with an entire window behind the driver's side door blown out in its entirety due to yet another hate crime being committed against me by a beast of British Columbia, a male beast. Please note the change I was lawfully required to make to this BC government paperwork page. 1. I am not a female, nor will I ever identify as female. I am a woman with rare Rh negative blood, a blood type void of rhesus monkey DNA, unlike the Rh positive blooded humans who are identified by or sexed as male and female. Animals, right? That's how you sex animals. Male or female. My people were created to be men or women. Thank you in advance for prompt, racially sensitive public service, victim of continuous targeting and hate crimes, which is not a lie. I'm not lying about any of this. I disappeared for quite some time because I just now started to process the first 50 years that I have survived. And it's extremely painful. So here we've got, this is October. This is now in October. We've got a response. Good day, Victoria. I hope this finds you well. My name's Carmen. I am the claims coordinator assigned to your file. I will be responsible for collecting all the required information for the adjudicator's review, decision maker. The claim number on the subject line is the number assigned to your application for benefits. Please reference that number when corresponding with the program. I am also attaching an acknowledgement letter for your review. Victoria, in review application, I note that you're requesting the following benefit. Other. Plastic supplies to cover window. I regret to inform you we cannot consider this request because it does not fall within any of our benefit categories. Our program can only provide the benefits set out in the Crime Victims Assistance Act. Okay, so let's talk about acts. Acts are not laws. They're guidelines only. It's a guideline only. And have you ever read them? I mean, they sew into these abomination written acts loopholes for themselves, so you never get compensated correctly. There are other benefits you wish for the program to consider. Oh, hold on. She's asking me a question if I need counseling. Oh, no, I'm afraid I am the counselor, and the counselor doesn't need counseling, thanks. No, thank you. Please advise, and I will add to your claim. I'm attaching Section 4 expense and loss information for your reference. So if there's expense and loss information, and I now have expenses, but you're telling me that the act is not going to cover the close to $100 piece of commercial plastic I had to purchase to try to even cover up that huge hole in my automobile? Should you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact the program. While there is no such thing as the program, there's a bunch of male and female public servants who don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're talking about. Sincerely. Please ensure that your claim number is included in the subject line of the email and that you create your email by selecting reply to the most recent email that you have received from a claims coordinator. This allows incoming emails to go directly to the claims coordinator, which will typically result in faster response times. And then it signs itself, Carmen, claims coordinator. So you get what's happening here? You've got someone fielding the incoming emails, and then you've got someone else acting as a decision maker. So how many monkeys are employed by this absolute waste of time, waste of effort joke, calling itself a crime victim assistance program, because I received no assistance at all. I got fucking spun. Again. So why don't these public servants understand that all rape victims in Canada receive the same amount? $500,000. And you have to be compensated with that, because once you've been violated that way, you're not moving. You literally cannot move. And I endured 3 of them after my home was stolen. And they forcefully evicted me March 19th, 2020. And we all know what was happening in the world at that time. Okay, so here's my response. Sunday, October 20th. You have to understand, I can't stand, I can't stand the services that are offered. They're just an absolute joke. So here I am with my claim number. Hello, Carmen. No, I'm not doing well at all. In order for you and this other person acting as adjudicator to understand the level of loss, harm, and damage done to me due to years of persecution, oppression, and targeting, it's imperative you both read the following depositions, as the current claim is one of many that must be filed with this public service. I was informed when I first applied for this service, this office does not open doctorate documents. However, the files sent were opened a number of times, so I will not be satisfied. Public servants of this public service will not be opening the following testamentary proof, as the information is paramount importance in serving me and the special needs required. One claim that will be filed when I have enough energy is regarding the sexual molestation exploitation of my son after he was kidnapped by public servants acting as the Ministry of Child and Family Destruction. As his mother, I am victimized by knowing my son was sexually abused, assaulted in government care, and will never get over that loss, harm, and damage, nor will my son. See page 26 to 34. Pages are not numbered in this particular deposition, but Dr. H shows page numbers for easy reference. That was the first act of genocide leveled against myself and my family, as transferring children from one group to another is legally defined as an act of genocide. The second act of genocide in less than a decade is the theft of my interest, private property, embezzlement of my entire estate, forcing me against my will into prostitution to survive, which resulted in me being raped and infected by rapists repeatedly. Listen, I couldn't make this up if I tried. Do you think I actually want to be coming on here and talking about any of this? I don't. I don't want anybody to know what's happened to me for the last 51 years. Because truly, there's less than a handful that actually give a flying fuck. Less than a handful. And yet I do all this work to try to alert the world to what happens to the peculiar people while we're here. No, I do not require counseling. I require ongoing massage therapy by an individual who I feel comfortable with and being around. Due to the level of damage and lack of energy I'm suffering from, that is all the information and engagement available at this time. When I applied for this public service in July, I explained this matter was beyond an emergency, as I had been left on purpose with no financial resources to live and am drowning in poverty due to the criminal acts of CIBC agents and dozens of their BC public servant partners in crime. I am not the average victim you would usually serve, which is why knowing more about my past, me, and what I've survived is paramount in effective, caring, concerned service. It is important I am understood, heard, and respected. Signed, Barely Breathing. So we're still in October, 2 years ago now. Good morning, Victoria. Thank you for your prompt response. I'm sorry to hear that you're not doing well. I acknowledge your frustrations with having been told that the program does not open documents. So they did open them. So there's a counter on doctorate documents. And when I sent over the document, it had not been opened at all. I hadn't opened it and no one else had opened it. And then all of a sudden, it's been opened 5 times. And yet I'm being told they don't open them. So these public servants are all compulsive liars. I haven't met one yet that wasn't a compulsive liar. No joke. I appreciate that you wish for the program to accept and open documents that you sent hassle-free. Unfortunately, we are a government program. Well, there's no such thing as government. There's a satanic cult pretending to be the government. And our email server cannot open documents that can be harmful to our system. Oh, your entire system is harmful. Don't go around pretending that your entire system isn't harmful, because it is harmful. So that's just hypocrisy 101. This is a security measure put in place to protect confidential information and the integrity of the program. Well, nothing's confidential. Nothing. There's no privacy. You don't have the right to privacy. I don't. You don't. Nobody does. Everything that's hidden is going to come out in the open one day. With that said, I regret to inform you that I am not allowed to open the documents that you provided. Right. Due to our IT security policy, right, so a policy isn't a law. I didn't write it. I didn't agree to it. I don't know what you're talking about. This is just more satanic spin. This is more satanic circus monkey fucking spin. We're unable to access any links to view your documents on OneDrive, Secure Docs, Google Docs, Dropbox, Square, or any other similar online third-party websites. We encourage you to forward them as file attachments to an email. I don't write, like I write epics, like I gotta, you know what I mean? Like, I have to provide testimony to my experience here. And I have a very good memory despite the fact that I have been severely abused for 51 years. It's just who I am. That's the INFJ personality type. That's the woman born at the end of June. That's a woman who's not even from this sick fucking world. With regards to your son and the victimization he experienced, I encourage you to apply. I've attached a victim application for your son and an immediate family member for yourself. With regards to your application in relation to your son, please note that the program has a 1-year time limit. If your application is over the 1-year time limit, please provide a letter providing reasons for delay along with your application. Your current claim is ready to be reviewed by the adjudicator. I will add your request for massage therapy as a benefit. Should you have any further questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact the program. I also welcome the opportunity to speak to you on the telephone. I can be reached at blah, 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 blah. Okay, but there's never going to be a meeting of the minds between my people who are the living and those of this world who are the dead. There's never going to be a meeting of the minds. I realized I had to fight for years after my spouse passed away for survivor pension benefits because I was being robbed of that entire sum. I tell the truth and they turn around and tell me that I'm lying. So this is a year later. So I get back the adjudicator, this thing called itself Sandra, and it's just a joke. They've done not a fucking thing for me but more spin. Oh, you want massage? Well, you'll have to go see a physician of no value. No, I won't. And no, I will not do that. And by the way, there are no doctors here. Sorry, there are no physicians here, family physicians here in British Columbia, and we all know that if we're paying attention. You paying attention? I am. And if you're not paying attention, why aren't you paying attention? Because if you're paying attention, you're fucking hot with rage. Attention federal and provincial public servants tagged in this urgent correspondence. The first attachment is a fax you public servants received. As the rule of law was ignored along with the victim's cultural and inalienable rights, claim number blah 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 has been common living law reviewed by an expert in law and justice for my peculiar people. As such, the decision rendered is to lawfully compensate the victim of this violent assault and act of murder and vandalism of the victim's private property at what is fair, right, and just according to persons acting as Canada, federal public servants regarding rape victims in this country. Mike Farmer, acting as Solicitor General and Minister of Public Safety Crime Assistance Program, and its agents conduct conduct is your responsibility. As such, you must work directly with public servant Katrine Conroy, acting as the BC Minister of Finance, to immediately release compensation as what is due and payable are the victim's necessaries of life. Once again, simple, concise directives are as follows. Number 1, direct deposit what is overdue and payable. Or, number 2, contact myself through text message, because I don't pick up the phone, because if I don't know who's calling me, I'm not going to pick up the phone. I'm sorry, I don't use my phone for that, because most of the time there's an absolute fucking idiot on the other end, and I just don't have the energy anymore to fucking field a call or a conversation with a fucking idiot. Yeah, sorry. The victim identified as special counsel and private prosecutor of a foreign jurisdiction to pick up a province of British Columbia bank draft or check from the Service BC office, located right over here on Vernon Avenue in Victoria, BC. I, righteous woman, trust you public servants, thus far guilty of mischief, fraud, racism, and discrimination, will act accordingly as required by your duty, obligation, and oath to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Yours very truly. Okay, so that went nowhere because I'm dealing with the dead. And now here's one that went out yesterday, Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. Subject, overdue $450,000 from one of multiple rapes and vandalism private property. Here we've got Michael Moss, Lana Popham, the Ombudsman for Victims of Crime. We've got Nikki Sharma. We've got, David Eby. We've got Justin Trudeau, Reni Arif, Randall Garrison. We've got Premier here, and we've got Katrine Conroy. Now, do you all know what those are all public servants acting in fictional roles. Ministers. So a minister is someone who is a practitioner of religion. Well, what religion are they practicing? Do you know? Because I certainly do. All religion is falsehood. All of it. I don't care what it's calling itself. I don't care what its title or label is. It is all rotten, reprobate garbage. Attention public servants. Tomorrow calls made and recorded as it's obvious from years of hate, racism, murder attempts, public incitement, and willful promotion of hatred for my family, useless witches, the face of government public service, wicked do-nothing demons, Mike Moss, speaking of recorded calls, made... Oh, so here's a tweet, right? Because I'm speaking of recorded calls. See, this is what I'm talking about. And then I just showed you. So remember what I told you about? So here's the proof. Here's some proof right here. So there's my name up there. There's my address. That's been my home since the end of 2002. We took possession January 2003. And here we have proof, absolute proof, that I went and I interviewed with that coven who did nothing to stop what was happening to my son and myself, which is legally defined as an act of genocide. They did nothing, and now I just read to you exactly what I'm talking about. So recorded calls, right? I recorded a call to the BC Ombudsperson. I was put through to Michael Moss. I left a message to direct this male acting as the mayor of Saanich, Dean Murdoch, to provide $2,000 because I've just been vandalized yet again. BC's whistleblowing legislation. Well, legislation's not law. Youth in custody at risk due to ministry inaction. Oh, okay, so that's hypocrisy 101, because the truth is it's this coven of useless eaters acting as the BC Ombudsperson who are guilty of inaction. Intentional endangerment, that's a crime in Canada. Yes, it is. Oh, look at this. Now, why did no one that I spoke to, why did none of the mindless monkeys, when my home was being stolen, inform me about section, this section of, so a code's not a law, it's a guideline at best. And we all know that because we all know that these profane public satanic servants don't follow any of this. They haven't even fucking read it, I swear. This section allows for anyone who fears reasonable grounds of personal injury or property damage to lay in information before a justice. You understand what that is, right? That's a private information you're laying before a justice of the peace. So why did nobody tell me this when my home was being stolen? And the first two Asians never lived inside my home for a year. And yet I'm homeless and destitute, going around being raped to try to get enough financial resources to keep a roof over my head, because the $700,000 from the sale of my property has been embezzled. Yeah, by the politicians and the solicitors and the benchers, the beast benchers here. So it was 2 acts of fraud on the court. Forced adoption is fraud on the filthy, fascist, corrupt, cursed Canadian court. And Demon Daniel Cursed Carroll and the rest of his fucking witchcraft practicing savage pals, CIBC solicitors, guilty of fraud on the Circus Clown Court to embezzle House of Daly estate, interest private property. They got the land, they got the automobile, and then they stole all the money. They sold everything off and just kept everything. The indictable crime of conspiracy to commit murder against, well, I'm the trustee, I'm the true owner. Fraud on the court occurs when the judicial machinery itself has been tainted, such as when an attorney who is an officer of the court is involved in the perpetration of a fraud or makes material misrepresentations to the court. Fraud on the court makes void the orders and judgments of that court. And yet I still don't have my son. So this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So do you understand what's going on here? You've got tares, which are the spawn of Satan, and then you've got my people, who are the wheat. So tares are weeds, toxic to everyone and everything, vile, arrogant abominations, are stiff-necked, nasty, narcissistic sociopaths void of life, light, and love, who perpetually seek employment with satanic secular cults like government, psycho services, or church, which is the court. Cuckoo religious retard rat reprobates. Well, yeah, I am afraid that's what's going on here. And so this is what happens. This is how this has happened to me for decades. So I get lied about, and then that liar goes and raises some other liars, some other haters, and then those two covens, those two cabals, send flying monkeys like police or sheriffs. You know, those who have their conscience seared, order followers, and then I'm re-victimized again, and it just keeps happening. And the wicked are useless. Yes, they are. Listen, life is exactly as it's written. Exactly as it's written. These are beasts of Belial. The wicked are useless. You've got 3 witnesses of the truth right there. 2 or 3 witnesses of the truth establish the truth. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Hosea. All 3 of them. And I'm just showing you what I'm talking about now. You think I like doing this? I don't. I hate it. How do I get back to that email? Okay, we're going to have to jump out of here and jump over here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've got some other stuff here. Let's see, what else do we have here? So what's happening is I need emergency dental. And so here is, here's the bill. Here's the bill that's due. So I'm a foreign from above woman. I'm outside the jurisdiction of all the savages acting as public services here. So they're absolutely ignoring just everything that they could possibly ignore. What is so difficult to understand about this? Promise everything, deliver nothing, blame someone else. That's right. And then I get the silent treatment. That's what children of the devil do. You're not to act against the life of your neighbor. But that's exactly what they're doing. I need emergency dental care. And no, have you read? Kool-Aid Dental is here for you. No, actually you're not. I don't have any money at all. So you want me to stand downtown in the most violent, vile place in Victoria? You understand, right, that legalized drug use is everywhere, and they're doing it everywhere. In general, we take drop-in patients Monday to Friday. Line up outside the building by 8:30 a.m. Everyone will end up, by then, will be entered into a draw to be added to the drop-in list. Please come prepared to wait as long as it takes to be seen. That's abusive. It is absolutely ridiculous. So you're going to wait there all day long, maybe to be seen? In an unsafe environment? Women aren't safe downtown. I'm not safe downtown. I don't feel safe downtown. There's a chance you're going to wait all day, and there's no guarantee that you're going to be seen that day. So you can just go down there every fucking day, all fucking day, and just fucking sit there. That's how the poor get treated. That's how the poor get treated. Yeah, well, but I'm not really poor, am I? Right? So you did Google Alan Katz, didn't you? You saw what happened to that man and his family? And he went, and he got spun. And so he went, and he had to kill. He had to kill the liars. That's what happened there. That man's not a murderer. That man did the right thing, because that's what a man's going to do. Don't ever hire a liar. If you hire a liar, you prove yourself to be a fucking incompetent, incapable, that you can't handle your own affairs. Oh, my Lord. Sorry about that. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, heavens. It's the same thing. And then, of course, we've got these other... So here we are here. True and being neglected, outright refused fair treatment by... Well, we've got this female pretending to be the Minister of Finance. Yeah, you've got Lana Popham, who pretends to be the MLA of the district that I'm in. You've got the BC Ombudsperson. We know what that is. I just read it to you. Left with no financial resources. I did a live yesterday at Saanich, who 100% owes a fiduciary duty to myself, a homeless senior. So get this. Okay, so all that crap on their websites is just propaganda. Get this. Bribery and corruption have an impact on our society, economy, health, and safety in all sorts of ways. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Corrupt practices increase the cost of goods and services, like the cost of housing. That's why my home was stolen. So you could get property who should never be into the public. Now you've had 2 fraudulent mortgages on that home, driving up the prices of homes here in the district of Saanich, and that's why they did that. This means that every single Canadian is a potential victim. So what are you listening to me doing about the corruption that you know is happening? Are you doing anything about it? And if not, why not? Contact your local police if you know about an act of corruption that involves businesses. Well, CIBC is a business. Law Society of BC is a business. BC Supreme Court is a business. BC NDP is a business. BC Ombudsperson's a business. BC Sheriffs is a business. All private for profit. Nothing to do with public service. Municipal or provincial government employees, municipal or provincial government institutions. Well, again, right? I went everywhere. If you haven't looked and seen that I did, what's wrong with you? So I went over that. I went over this. Intentional endangerment. That's exactly what they're doing to me. And so here's violating living law. Well, we can go over to Deuteronomy 5. Well, it's the living law. Like, it sits right there in the witness box. And UN Convention Article 5, B, C, and E, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And so this is who's guilty of discrimination against women. The thing pretending to be the mayor of Saanich. The thing pretending to be the Minister of Public Safety. The thing pretending to be public services here. The thing pretending to be the Minister of Finance. Yeah, what a fucking joke. You've read this, right? Sure you have. I read it to you. Here's another thing. Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Well, I'm now a senior. Yeah, that's where we're at. So, see, general recommendation, so they don't have to follow any of that on older women. See, so here's what's ridiculous about this. A woman, well, my women of my race, the peculiar people, can't be humans because humans are Rh positives. No, monkeys. And they just don't care, and so they just continue to leave me with absolutely nothing. Update. This is a week ago. Today, more spin, no help, no compassion, no empathy, no support, just reprobate, run around. Yeah, why not, right? I mean, just keep it up. Just keep it up. Michael Moss. So yesterday I said to Michael Moss, yeah, you're going to make sure that the $2,000 that I went to get twice now from the reception desk at Saanich is ready this week. No, you have a fiduciary duty to supply emergency financial resources. Your budget, what are you talking about? You just collected probably hundreds of millions of dollars in property tax, commercial and residential property tax. So you all put a pot together and you all throw in your own personal resources then, if you don't want to take it out of this so-called budget. It's $2,000. Are you sick in the head? I never ask a question that I don't know the answer to, and so I know the answer to that question. Katrine Conroy, where's the $450,000? David Eby, you're involved in an act of fraud on the court. You received a registered mail package that was happening, and you didn't care because your Asian pals here in BC are money laundering. And then they passed off to their buddies here who are now using my property to generate passive income with a fraudulent mortgage. So Michael Moss, why don't you pick up the phone? You can't follow simple instructions, right? Antichrist, narcissistic sociopath? Like the rest of the monkeys tagged? So we'll read this on the record in corrupt coven court during your criminal trials as you all belong in cages like zoo animals. Looking forward to calling the walking dead fraud you are. I mean, this is what I deal with on a regular basis. And I'm so tired of it. Because with any of them, they are all making 6 figures a year. Every single one of them. And they all go to the dentist when they need to go to the dentist. Do you know what can happen to me? Do you know how sick you can get if you don't have the dental care that you need? You can end up with a stroke, a heart attack. It can cause damage to your brain. Now, I should have been paid out 4 years ago when I filed the notice of civil claim against the coven before they'd actually stolen my interest private property. And I'm so sick and fucking tired of talking to the wicked. I tell the truth and that doesn't make sense to me. No, it wouldn't make sense to you because you're not of the truth. Are you fucking so stupid that you don't understand what a trust is and what a trust means? Because these savage solicitors use them all the time to hide their assets, and then when they go and rob everyone who's been stupid enough to hire them, they go to court. And the court says to the victim of the crime, well, they've hidden their assets, so there's nothing we can do for you. That's what happened to Alan Katz. Oh, don't worry, I'll explain this. I'll take my fucking precious time and the little bit of energy I have to explain this, right? To a world that's absolutely fucking blind. And if it's blind, it's deaf. And my brother told me I wouldn't be listened to. My people, the prosecutors, told me that I would not be listened to. And my life would be in danger the entire time I was here. And that's exactly what's happened. So I'm exhausted. So I didn't make these calls today because grief is an odd thing to live with every day because it's not static. And what I mean by that is it changes every single day. It changes every single hour. It can change from minute to minute. And so what I know about future behavior, it's predicated on past behavior. So isn't that funny that you can't go into a whorehouse here in Canada pretending to be a court and get any kind of justice if you're playing by their game and their rules? No, that's not the way it works here. Right? That's just not the way it works. So you understand that, right? What's going on here? They're using my home. We all know about what's happening with the Chinese here. Are you joking? Like, oh, billions in money laundering increased BC housing prices. So in May of 2019, they're already in the process of stealing my land, my interest land. If you haven't read a trust before, they're crystal fucking clear. It eliminates all third-party creditors. They all have to come to me and ask. No, you're not being paid. You have an insurance policy on that credit line. I know you do. I know exactly how the banking industry works. You've already had that $40,000 paid out and it's not a mortgage. But you're going to lie and say that it is so you can fucking steal my land. And these two dolts here are just hypocrites. They're pretending like... So you understand what these fuckers do, right? Whatever they tell you that they're fighting, they're the ones doing it. That's how they operate. That's why they have to get on here and have the Cullen inquiry. You know, the Cullen inquiry. Fucking joke. Fucking joke. They find money launderers all the time. They refuse to prosecute them. They refuse. Isn't that right, Nikki Sharma? Isn't that right, Brock Martland? Isn't that right, David Eby? So you don't understand what's happening here? You don't know? Because I do. And they're all above the law. You notice how this thing is wearing red and blue? Do you know what that means? It's telling you what it is. It's telling you what religion it practices. But I'm the asshole, right? Am I the asshole? So these, look at this. The Canadian housing folks here are pretending like they're against gender-based violence. There's nothing more violent than stealing a widow's home and leaving her homeless and destitute. Anyway, I'm tired. I gotta go.